Alrighty. Hi there guys, Alex here, and welcome to another one. Today we're going to be discussing two things: the state of the artificial intelligence in the community and how it affects us, large language models, generative AI. Then we're going to discuss the jobs as well, or in vice versa order, and we'll be kind of combining those two to see how it affects the world today, right? Because I think there's a little bit of misconception also why the job market is not maybe as great as generally it is. So let's maybe touch base on those two things. So this first subject I'm going to touch upon is hiring, because that has been most honestly the most commonly asked question past couple of months on my streams. I'm also starting to develop the feeling that the most people who are actually watching those streams are there just so they can get a job or something like that. I have a feeling that most of you are not actually even interested in what's happening in the stream. It's just a bunch of people roaming around trying to find something that they can start working on. So let's discuss that a little bit. So let's start with the question. Hey Alex, do you have any tip? How can I get a job easier in this industry? And I think the generic and most logical question would be, well, you better yourself and get better than others and find a job. But that would be useless to hear, right? So let's discuss it. So I think one of the most fundamental things with many of you guys is that when you finish university, you go home, and then you sit home and you either play video games, and then you're going to LinkedIn and stuff and applying for jobs, right? Throughout the IT kind of history, that has been very possible, right? You could finish some school, especially the better one, and then get a job, right? Today, as the market is very saturated, a lot of people past decade have seen, hey, actually there's very high salaries in this IT industry. Let me go there and become a Bill Gates in 2 months. Due to that reasoning, we have a lot of people today who want to write code, right? And that's normal, that's good. We're actually still missing millions of developers in the market. The problem is, though, is that you coming out fresh out of university, you close yourself in your room, you're sitting home, you're applying, but you're not actually doing anything to improve yourself, right? So some of you are going to build some sort of a landing page of yours where you're going to put unrealistically 300 different technologies that you claim that you know, which you don't. Some of you will maybe join some open source project, be motivated for 3 days, and then get back to your old habits, etc., etc., etc. So that's not going to work anymore. So those types of things are not. So you building a beautiful GitHub page, your landing page, is not going to work anymore. So there are certain things that I think you should do, especially if you live in a greater city somewhere. And that is join meetups. So for example, one of the first things that I would suggest people to do is to join various types of meetups. So for example, if you are looking for a JavaScript job, if you want to inject yourself in a JavaScript industry, what you could do is you could basically find some JavaScript meetups in your area. So let's say you live in Barcelona, you would find Barcelona JavaScript meetup, or Node.js meetup, or web development meetup. You would do the same in Copenhagen, you would do the same in Stockholm, in Berlin, in any other city. You get the point. So the reason why I'm suggesting this is because meetups are a great place to not just meet other developers, to build some bonds, to find people who think the same, who want to do the same, but also most of these meetups are actually organized by recruiters. So putting 50, 100 developers in the same place is generally very cheap. So whenever you go to those meetups, you're always going to have 2 or 3 or 5 recruiters roaming around looking for people, etc., etc., etc. The reason why this can give you a huge boost in hiring is because this is an opportunity for recruiters to actually see you in person, see how you conduct yourself, see how you talk, see how you communicate, see how prone you are to certain questions which are not very nice, right? So how do you respond when they ask you about the experience you don't have? Are you triggered? Are you egoistic? Are you, self-reflective? Are you self-aware, etc., etc., etc.? So the best thing you can do for yourself, if you have the opportunity, is to go to meetups and meet actually other people. If you don't have this opportunity, then if you're stuck to your room because you live in some rural area, well, then you are kind of stuck with some online ways, internet ways. So first thing that actually applies to both groups of people is that you have to build things. You have to build things that should be reflective of the positions you're applying for. So if you want to be a web developer, if you want to build applications in React, then you should try to genuinely build things that are built with React and any other modern stacks that you want to do. You also have to show some passion for it. So I'm not saying that you must build it. If you're feeling that you must pressure yourself on building something, then that's already scary enough, because if you have just finished your school and you're not excited about actually building real things, then the main question is, why did you study that in the first place? Because you have to understand that this type of job is hard already enough. It's not the programming part that's hard. That's the easy part. Learning to write some code, that is the easiest part of our job. The hardest part is that you're going to have to do this for 20, 30 years or more. You're going to have to do this 8 hours a day. You're going to be working with very smart individuals, very smart people, and you will have to develop yourself to get around those people, to win them over, etc., etc., etc. So in simple words, if you're pushing yourself to do things, then ask yourself, why do you have to push yourself in the first place? For example, just to add maybe a correlation here, a lot of people in my stream are asking me about how to get some side projects done, right? I even recorded a video, you can find it on my YouTube, about side projects. And the main question is again the same. If you have started the side project yourself and then you need someone to push you to do that project, then the main question is, why did you start the project at all? Because it's clear that you don't want to do it. So I guess at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself, you have to be clear with yourself, and you have to set some goals, and you have to please try to understand yourself and why are you doing some things, and what is the reasoning behind it, right? So you have to basically build things. So that's the main point. All of this noise that I just discussed is you asking yourself what it is that's preventing you to do that, right? When you build certain things, when you write the tests, when you, I don't know, add some types, etc., 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 when you try to build something useful, that's going to be your entry anywhere. Why is this a case? Well, let me put it like this. So I've been a software engineer professionally now for 16 years. In past 3 or 4 companies, I barely even interviewed. I just showed up, I had great references, and then a day or 2 or 3 ago, I would get a job. But this is mainly because I have a huge list of actually pretty solid companies on my CV. I'm very active in an open source community, etc., etc., etc. And I'm a very low risk employee to get. So if you call 2 or 3 CTOs and they vouch for you, for any company out there, it's pretty safe to hire you because somebody has vouched for you. You guys don't have that. You're hugely disadvantaged because naturally you're just out of school and you need, how will anybody give me a job because I've never worked? Well, that's how, right? Get yourself out there, write blog posts, show some interests, build some products, join some streams like mine, talk to people, and conduct yourself always as a mature individual. So for example, I had this guy, Spectra, Kirill, who was helping me with Programmer Network, and I highly respect him. He's very young, like many of you, but he has done a great work on the project. He has conducted himself very professionally, and I wouldn't mind actually just giving a reference to him to anyone ever. And I told him that. I had Nora, another person, maybe half a year ago. She was also working on the project. I actually was a reference to her, and I was actually one of the reasons, I believe at least, why she has gotten a job as well. So conduct yourself anywhere you go, to the streams, to the Discord channels. Conduct yourself as a mature individual who actually wants to contribute, who wants to build things, etc., etc., etc. You cannot just show up in an interview and then be the best version of yourself there. You have to build this persona anywhere you go. So if you're on Twitch, behave normally, act normally, and that's gonna take you probably to a greater place than if you don't do those things. Now, if we actually move a little bit from here, so maybe we can just summarize a little bit. So you have to go to meetups if you can. Otherwise, you have to actually build the projects as well, of course. But you have to put yourself out there amongst the people. You have to talk to people. You have to find developers that are working maybe already that you can have a good interaction with. Again, like Nora, like Kirill, like Cedric, like Totem, like many people in my stream that I actually know now. I have them on my LinkedIn, and without a doubt, I would already be able to be their reference because I see how they think, I see how they talk, I see that they're kind, I see that they're genuine in what they're doing, so be that person as well. Now, if we throw in a little bit of AI discussion here, because I promise that this video is going to also involve the AI, I think there's a little bit of misconception why the industry in the IT, the hiring industry, is not so great. A lot of people are going to tell you that the reason for that is AI, which actually isn't true. So we have to understand that the IT industry is not in a bad state. So there's millions of jobs out there. There's a lot of stuff to be done. There's going to be million more jobs opening up as the time goes by. We have to understand one just basic fact: the world currently runs two wars. We had Corona. There have been a lot of bad things happening past 3 or 4 years. It hasn't been the great place on the planet for many of us, and so the market currently is simply affected by that, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the IT market is not going anywhere. IT market is doing great and is going to do great again. So don't think that the AI has influenced this in that sense that, hey, there's AI now and it's hard to get a job. That's actually not true. AI has just made us more productive, but the current state of the world is as such where jobs are not not as exposed as they would generally be. All right, so let's now discuss in the next point. We're going to discuss the generative AI, the LLMs, Copilot and stuff like that, because this is one of the other things that I'm getting the most questions about. So let me just pause the video now and then let's continue in a second. Alrighty guys, so in the next part of the video, let me just do it like this because I'm also holding my bike. I'm slowly walking home. So let's discuss AI a little bit. So a lot of people in my stream would ask me, hey Alex, is GitHub Copilot worth paying for? Is ChatGPT worth paying for, etc., etc.? I think it's time that we stop asking those questions because we live in an era, in the start of the era of AI. It's definitely the present, the future, and the far future, and asking these questions doesn't make sense as well because the price of these tools is so low for people who work that if you're not making enough of money, even an hour to pay for 2 or 3 of those tools, then you're doing something wrong. So let's break that out a little bit. So if you are a software engineer already, if you're working and paying, let's say making $50 an hour minimum, you're probably making more. Asking a question such as, is paying $10 a month, $20 a month worth saving me hundreds of hours of work, then I'm a little bit worried about your logic as a software engineer at all. So if you're a software engineer, you have 2 possibilities. Either your company is going to pay for these tools, which it should be, and I'm sure that if you would talk to your CTO or anyone else, they would be very glad to do it. And if they're not willing to do it, then you should definitely pay it for yourself. So I think fundamentally these tools are so good that I think already a year later now, today, when we have them, we are all probably 2 or 3 times more productive already. So for what a senior developer could do a year ago, they should be able to do 3 times more today. And equally, what a junior developer was able to do a year ago, they should be able to do as much as senior was able to do a year ago as well. So I think it's a little bit silly to even discuss this anymore because it's becoming ridiculous. Because if you've ever watched someone use those tools, me or anyone else, and if you haven't seen the value, then you're either not programming or you're not paying attention. So I think it's the time that we stop asking these silly questions, because the time is here to better yourself. The time is here to use these tools to improve yourself in so many different ways. If you're looking for a job and if you need someone to review your CV, well, ChatGPT is great for that. If your repositories are not in a great state, if you're missing tasks, whatever, well, ChatGPT is a great thing. So you can use so many of these tools to improve your own self, to improve yourself on the job market, to validate your LinkedIn profile, to validate your GitHub, and so many other things. So if you're not working even, and you're looking for a job and you would like to get better chance at that, ChatGPT is gonna genuinely help you. So I think that's my take on the AI. I think another point that I want to do is maybe just related finally to the previous point we discussed, the job market, and the premise that the job market is somehow influenced by the AI. I think I would have to disagree to that to a certain degree, because I don't think that the job market in the IT industry is actually bad. I think that the job market genuinely in the world has changed a bit, simply because we have 2 wars running on. We had Corona, we had 2 or 3 years of Corona. A lot of money has been printed, inflation has been really high, and we can see that, at least here in Copenhagen as well, when it comes to investments, in the IT, they have decreased. It's not a great time to raise money now, simply because the situation in the world has changed slightly for the worse. So what's going to happen with the IT community? Nothing, honestly. IT community has been, and in my view, is always going to be great. Things are a little bit slow today. Companies are not hiring as much as they generally would. And yeah, if you're a junior and you're not getting a job instantly, I have to tell you that juniors have never been getting job instantly. A year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I think there's a huge also lie that you guys are being told that somehow today getting a job as a junior is impossible. It's not true. Getting a job as a junior always has been harder than if you are hiring somebody who's more experienced. That's logical, because think about it this way. If somebody, as I said in the first part of this video, wants to hire me, they can call 40 different people and ask about me. So hiring me is way lower risk than hiring you, who never worked, who never saw doing any work before. Nobody knows who you are, how you behave, how you act, do you know how to work in a team, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of unknowns, and that's how it always has been, and that's, in my opinion, how always it will be. With that said, the state of the AI is as such. Embrace it, hug it, make it your best friend. Don't deceive yourself, don't waste time, don't wonder, don't stop with these questions. Embrace the AI. It's going to be part of your life in the next couple of years, in every segment of your life. And by doing so, you're going to do yourself a great favor. Be on top of things. Don't be like some of the previous generations. Like there's that meme on the internet, not meme, the picture, when math teachers protested against the usage of calculator. Don't be that person. Be on top of things. Learn new things. Embrace the AI. And I think that, yeah, you will have nothing to worry about. All right, I'm going to head off now. I need to go to the store. My wife told me that they're hungry, my son and my wife. So I'm going to go to Lidl right there. I'm going to buy some food. And I'll see you guys in the stream. I wish you all the best. Alex out. Cheers. Bye-bye.